Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Xpansion Pack Podcast, where we download this week's gaming news and we bring it straight to you. I'm your host, Denzel, aka Black Ice, joined by my co-host. If you're watching us, starting off in the middle here, we got my guy, Mr. Goop, Master Flex. How you doing, bro?
You already know it's Goopin' season.
It's Goopin' season.
Well,
wasn't it Goopin' season like in the winter?
I was gonna ask, but
every season's Goopin' season.
It's just like you just gotta kind of live with it, man.
Okay, it's a lifestyle, right? Okay.
Good.
Exactly.
Bet. All right. Good. Well, thank you, Mr. Goop. Got my other co-host down here, Mr. 525 himself, May 25th. How you doing, bro?
I'm good. I am tired, per usual, but here to talk about some games, y'all. Per usual as well.
Per usual.
Let's get it cracking.
For sure. So, I mean, with that, we ain't even gonna waste no time. Chris, just get us into it.
What's going on, people? This is your boy May 25th with the buffer for this week. This week's question was, what's the next video game you guys think would turn or would make for a good adaptation? Kind of like how The Last of Us has come out of nowhere and just like, hit everybody in the head with how good it's been on HBO. We're trying to figure out what the next one's going to be. We have good ones. We also have bad ones because we all know what happened with Halo. So, yeah, try to figure out some new shit. We'll try to talk about some ones that we haven't really spoke on before. I know we've touched on Destiny a couple times and a couple other things that we think could make possible good shows. Let's talk about some stuff we ain't never even tried to talk about yet. Let's go.
Honestly, man, I want to see it. I need a Mass Effect show, bruh. I need a Mass Effect show. But like, here's the thing. I need massive, and I mean, maybe they could use this for a video game, actually. That'd be crazy. But I need a massive backstory for Shep, like more so than what we got in the video game. Like, I want them to kind of really dig a little bit deeper into his origin and how he kind of came up and where he got his skills from and all that shit. And then, from there, go straight through what we went through in the video games, man. I want to see Homebody get ripped up and then put it back together and shit. You know what I mean? Like, I want to see the whole thing done how it's supposed to be done, because there's so many characters in that universe that they can make storylines around and literally veer off for like a solid 4 or 5 episodes on some Krogan shit and not worry about what's going on with Shep for a second, come back to Shep. And then, you got some stuff going on with, forgot what the name of Liara's race of people is or whatever, but you got her people. You got a lot of characters. I really think that show could be fire as fuck if done properly. Honestly, to be even more transparent, I kind of think it could be what Halo wasn't. You know what I'm saying?
That was my first thought.
It could be what Halo wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It kind of has, aesthetically, there's some similarities, I think, between both games and things like that. And Halo, I guess, is an example of how it doesn't go so well sometimes. So, like, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. But yeah, I would love to see Mass Effect, man. That'd be fire. Fire. I'm here for it, 100%.
I got it. You gonna make me want.
Oops, sorry, y'all. That is my alarm.
No worries.
I'm alarm, guys. Yeah.
It kind of is.
All right, Manny, what you got? Go ahead.
Man, that Mass Effect's a great one, but I think this one's gonna be better. I think we got to get a Red Dead show. Like, ooh, 1 and 2 kind of paved the way of like a perfect, Western story, cowboys, gunslinging, wow.
Wasn't somebody just talking about one in that show? Like somebody famous talking about, like, was it Jack Black or something?
Well, I remember Jack Black. No, I think you're right. Jack Black, say TV show. Remember he did like a little music video thing where he just like did cameos, and Red Dead was one of them. But yeah, Jack Black actually did say that. You're right. Thinking about it now. Speech.
Yo, is it weird that I would love it to be on AMC and for them to get what's his name,
Andrew
to
Lincoln?
be the maker?
Yo.
Yo, is that weird? Is that weird?
It's crazy because that's literally like in my head who I envisioned. Like, it's like if you're gonna make him, yeah.
Come on, bro. Come on, bro.
Do the shit XY show randomly like previously on AMC's Walking Dead. Coral.
I gotta get bro.
Yo, that meme was just rings like, oh man, oh no.
Yo, when that actually happened at the show,
It was
that
bad,
it kind
sad.
of
Yeah, it was real sad. Out of context, it sounds weird, but like this man just lost like some important people in his life, and it's no.
And he's got a daughter.
Yeah,
The zombie apocalypse.
yeah. Oh man, yo, did you finish that show? Not to get too far off track, but Chris, did you finish that show?
I haven't finished it, but I'm definitely going to because I had went back to it a couple months ago. I know.
Holy shit!
Cats sleep. They slept.
Yeah, I slept hard, bro. And then I just decided randomly it was on Netflix. I was like, I'm gonna go back. It was like a key moment that happened, and I stopped watching. And then like everything just ramped up from there. And then I finished it. Well, I got through most of it. And then I was like, all right, like I was watching with my wife. I was like, all right, you have to get caught up now. We have to get to this point, and then we can finish it together. And she was like enamored, and oh man, it got so much better. But a lot of people fell off like before it got better. It sucks.
Yeah. It's like it was great, and then it kind of fell, and then it got good again. Yeah.
For me, it was like when I watched it, I didn't have cable, so like all I could to watch it was just like illegal streams. Whoa! Actually, no, whoa!
Streams. FBI, we're watching, like, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey yo, this man's yo.
We got him.
This is all a joke of a skit in our podcast.
Got the goop.
Back to the skit of our podcast.
Well, yeah, Red Dead.
I want to hear previously on AMC's Red Dead. Rick.
Oh, that sound hard, dog. That sound hard. AMC's Red Dead. That sound fire, dog.
Damn.
When you say AMC, I actually can see it, man. Like, because fucking, like, I mean, the tag, you gotta just have the tag AMC. You got Breaking Bad that came from AMC, like Walking Dead.
It's true.
Better call Saul. All them Johns, man. Hell yeah.
So y'all think it would be more likely it would be a TV show as opposed to a movie? Because part of me always felt like if they were to do it, they would make it a movie. But y'all don't think so?
I think better as a TV show, just because pretty lengthy as this, and there's so much to unfold.
Yeah.
I don't think like jam it into like at max like a 3-hour movie, which is kind of like at that point kind of stretching it. I mean. Yeah. They still be good. Like, they're still good 3-hour movies, but
I feel that.
They do stretch long nowadays, though. I ain't gonna hold you. They definitely do. I loved Avatar, but it was too long. It was a little too long, bro.
I still haven't seen it yet. Watch it. Yeah, I wait for it to get on Disney Plus, and then I'll peep it.
Yeah, it was good. Just goddamn, 3 hours was unnecessary. Come on, y'all.
Yeah, I knew when it was 3 hours. I was like, damn, I don't know if I could swing that, but that's all right.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm thinking about, and this answer is honestly inspired by Doctor Who, because I've been watching a lot of Doctor Who recently, and like as I'm watching it, I'm like, all right, like so. The Doctor, like he has this little companion. He has this time machine. He jumps through the spaceship that can also time travel. He jumps through different points in time and like relives historical events and all types of random stuff. And I was thinking to myself, I'm like, this kind of gives me like an Assassin's Creed vibe. And I know they already made the movie, and it was what it was. But I feel like an Assassin's Creed TV show done literally in the style of the very beginning, where it was all about the Animus, and you were playing as Desmond in the real world versus like then getting into the Animus and like learning the story of the first game and whatnot. Like I think a TV show like that could work really well, and there's a fuck ton of games. So, in essence, you're not going to be starving for seasons, at the end of the day. You could literally go season, like one season is a full game, or you could expand it out however you want. You could even just not go by exactly what happens in the game and just take the concept of the Animus being, in essence, like a time. It's not literally a time machine, but like, I guess figuratively speaking, it kind of works as a time machine because it allows you to go back and, like see the memories of your ancestors and relive that stuff. I think it would allow for a lot of opportunity to do some pretty cool things if the right people get their hands on it. So, and then,
dope, man. Like a new era. That looks with it.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Might actually help save Ubisoft because, they're like holding on to that IP for dear life because that's really all they got going for them right now. So.
Their company, and they're just fumbling it so bad.
Hey, the X Defiant kind of fire though. So whenever they like officially drop that, because the betas were kind of dope. I can't lie to you, and a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is the Black Ops game that we've been wanting," and I could see it working out for them. But man, they got
a lot of good feedback for sure.
In the Heartland gameplay trailer like a couple weeks ago, so I mean,
yeah. So they're not dead. They're not
That's
dead.
still a thing. I didn't know that was still coming.
Like almost 2 years.
Yeah.
Yo,
Talked about that a minute ago.
Okay.
I actually think like 2-year anniversary coming up of this like it hasn't been 2 years.
I think it's been at least a year.
Damn near.
At the least a year. Either way, it's too long. Way too long.
Too long.
So, wait, do they have a? We'll talk in a little bit about like this stretch of time we're in, but there's definitely going to be a lot of reveals coming down the pipeline. I think we're recording this on Wednesday night. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at potentially a new Mortal Kombat game or something from NetherRealm Studios, and literally the week after this is going to be the PlayStation Showcase, and then we got the Xbox stuff coming. So like we're in this season of a lot of reveals and whatnot. Maybe we might get some sort of release dates for these games from Ubisoft. Who knows? I don't even remember when Ubisoft's like Forward event is happening. I don't know if we're getting one this summer or not, but
yeah, they originally wanted to do it on E3. They're like, "Oh, we'll be there,"
and then psych.
E3 won't.
Yeah. Well, then they said they weren't going to be there, and then E3 was like, "Well, we ain't going to be there either."
Yeah,
so,
right.
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But alas, Chris, thank you for the buffer. Got some good games in there. But of course, we're gonna get into the stories for this week. Starting off, before we get into some of the, the reveal season stuff. Well, I mean, honestly, all of this is kind of juicy, and we'll have to kind of truncate a lot of what we're gonna end up talking about because there is a lot that you could get into. But first thing we're gonna get into is Monday morning, the European Union came out in an approval of the Activision Blizzard and Microsoft deal, and I know that we talked about it before. The UK board, denied the deal, and Microsoft's currently appealing it. A lot of people said, "Oh, the deal's going to be dead now. Like, Microsoft won't be able to acquire the company." Yada yada yada. They kind of figured maybe the EU would follow the suit of what the UK did. Nope. They basically, said unequivocally that they are okay with the deal going through. The only concession that Microsoft had to make, because they ruled that, I forgot the exact wording they used, but they basically said the idea that this game, or if Call of Duty was not going to be on the PlayStation console, A, Microsoft wouldn't do that because they would lose money, and B, if they were to do that, and they did decide to lose money, it wouldn't make a big enough difference to the console market to say that, Sony, is in some huge disadvantage, which is, in essence, something that we've talked about here. But the only thing that they did say they had concerns about was cloud gaming, and Microsoft made the concessions to say that they are going to allow, Activision Blizzard games to be available on other cloud services in the EU, like any of the countries that are in the EU, basically. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty cool and interesting and kind of something that we expected all along. So, just a cool way to start this off here. But what do you guys think that could mean for, we still don't have like an official approval or blockage in the United States. In the UK thing, like we talked about before, that's actually getting appealed. So that it's gone to like a different tribunal, and they're going to determine whether or not that ruling stands. So, I mean, do you guys think that the deal will go through? What do you guys think about, the state of this whole deal that honestly we've been talking about for well over a year and some change now? I'm still kind of shocked that it hasn't either gone through or not gone through, like it's just, this feels like the never ending story. So Manny, I'm gonna start with you on this one.
I feel like let me bring up the conspiracy theories, of course. Now, of course, Blizzard King deal. I feel like part of it, is Phil Spencer's playing chess. What he's doing? He's purposely releasing trash games such as Redfall to kind of like push them. And then, coming out to a podcast after saying, we're in dead last, there's no hope for us. And then, we're the guys that you guys got to, pity. So give us Activision Blizzard King. That's what I think.
Did you read that off of Twitter?
No. That actually came to the top of my head, but imagine that was the plan all along. Redfall is this I know obviously that was
obviously not it, but yeah.
Just imagine, my boy Phil playing chess. It's whatever you do, make sure it's not good. And then you wait till the deal goes through, and then when Starfield comes out,
definitely not.
I think Phil's son.
Oh man. Also, he didn't even say any of those things. I'm not even gonna touch that. I'm not even gonna touch that.
Conspiracy theory. Don't listen to me, but I hope it does go through, because Call of Duty stuff I can really care less about, honestly, personally. Call of Duty is going to be Call of Duty at the end of the day. I'm here for the other, properties that Activision, holds, and, just games like Guitar Hero that we all love, Crash, bring that back. Well, maybe not Crash, because that recently just came back, but, just bring us some of the old titles back that we all miss,
So, in regards to what you said, I agree with you in a lot of ways. I want to see more of the other things from Activision's lineup that we've never, that we haven't seen in quite a while. I disagree with you that Call of Duty is still going to be Call of Duty, and I'll circle back to the whole Redfall thing as an example of why. Because Phil did go on the podcast. He give him a lot of credit. He did hold up to some pretty valid questioning about what went wrong with Redfall and yada, yada, yada. And he talks a lot about their processes and so on and so forth. And some of this stuff has already been reported, Bethesda largely operates on its own. And, the team behind Redfall in particular, they didn't really have as much oversight from the Microsoft side of things. And, he did mention that was kind of a shortcoming. He also mentioned that their own internal review was a lot higher than what the actual reviews came out to. But at the same time, I still reading between the lines. I still think he realized that the game wasn't really what they wanted it to be. I think he kind of realized that. Maybe not early on, but by the time, they had time to get in and do QA. So that's a different conversation for a different time. But the general idea that I get from that is that he learned a lot of lessons around maybe integrating the studios a lot faster, getting more Microsoft technology into, Bethesda studios, to have, for example, with combat and stuff like that, have some of the guys who work at the Coalition or 343 or whatever help, with gunplay. For Redfall, integrate those teams with some of that technology and expertise a lot sooner. I suspect that if this Activision Blizzard deal goes through, I think the idea of interconnectivity, collaboration between these studios may happen a lot sooner because of what happened with Redfall. I think, it may force people like Phil Spencer, Matt Booty, so on and so forth, to have a closer eye on all these projects and not just let them, like, I think there's a balance you have to strike, right? You can't like literally be like over their shoulder while they're working, right? But you kind of have to have a healthy understanding of what's going on and how to steer these teams in the right direction. And if you see that something's lacking, like, I don't know, for example, let's say like exploration is lacking in a particular game that's like open world or whatnot. And you have people like Todd Howard, within the company who are great at that type of stuff, they can lend their hand to like, maybe give them a couple tips here and there, play the game out, see what you can do with these different studios talking and sharing ideas and whatnot. I think having that stuff happen sooner could be one of the benefits of the downfall of Redfall. So just an idea. I think Call of Duty might be a little bit better off if these types of things happen. So could be wrong, but
as long as you see improvements, man, because now we got Kevin Durant playing Warzone. So
what does that have to do?
Okay.
Anyways,
not
what does that have to do with it? Hey, they want to make money.
As a skin, you can buy him.
Oh, you didn't know that?
Yeah.
I haven't. Shit, I ain't
He's a skin in the game. But they had Messi, they had Mbappe, and they had.
I seen those. I remember the soccer ones. I never thought KD was in there.
Yeah, they gonna keep doing it. That's the closest thing that they could do to what Fortnite does, right? It's the most realistic version of what Fortnite does. So they trying to make a little bit of money. It is what it is. I ain't got nothing. There's nothing wrong with it. Honestly, I'm gonna be real with you. We were playing Warzone the other day. They fixed a lot of the bullshit that they pulled in that last patch, and the ranked mode is actually very dope. So. They're actually looking like they're moving in the right direction with the ranked Warzone stuff. Just a thought. Okay. But Chris, just wanted to get your take on the EU news real quick, and then we'll pivot over to the next thing.
Obviously it's always a good thing when you get the little small wins, because you're gonna need a whole bunch of them to make a big one happen here. I mean, from what it sounds like, they're getting more wins in this situation than not. I mean, the UK is the first ones to actually oppose anything, right, in this whole process?
Yeah.
Or was there anybody else?
Well, the FTC is suing Microsoft, but their jurisdiction doesn't allow them to block the deal without like an actual trial or judge. Doesn't seem like that will end up happening. But yeah, the FTC is the only one who's like given some pushback, but the UK is the only one who's outright denied the deal right now.
Okay, I'd say they're in a positive direction right now, if anything, because if the appeal works out, then I mean they're good to go going forward, as long as everybody else hops on board. So don't think it's negative at all. I think what you said, Manny, is very interesting, because I didn't even think about it like that. I mean, I don't know. Phil might be out here, man. I mean, that's crazy trying to use such a L to your advantage, but I mean, if it works.
There ain't no way in hell. There's no way.
They said, let's turn shit into lemonade. We gonna get this deal popping, baby. My man hit him with the puppy eyes emoji. Come on, UK.
I feel like if anything, that Redfall thing would be an argument against the deal going through, because they did whatever. So that's a different. There's no way in hell this man, like anyone, in Microsoft, Xbox, purposely put out a shit game just to try to get this thing to go through.
I'm telling you, man.
Insane, man.
The Kermit meme, bro. Then Phil was standing there in the hoodie talking about drop Redfall. They'll give you the deal then. Telling you, bro. I'm telling you, Evil Phil was out here.
Oh man, y'all wow, y'all
can't drop it in this state. That's crazy. And then Evil was like, "Fuck that shit. You better drop that so you get this deal popping." Shit.
Just a quick pivot, man. Though. The last thought I have on the whole ABK deal, though, I think the really interesting thing about this is, because a lot of people said, once the UK decision came through, it's like, oh well, maybe Microsoft will just drop the case entirely. I think a lot of people said, well, let's wait to see what the EU says, because the EU holds a lot of weight. Like that's, like a good 30-something, countries like all rolled into this body, this union. So to say, all right, it's approved across all these different countries, like, and then knowing that in the US, it's complicated. They don't necessarily need to work with the FTC. Like, they could bypass them entirely. They could close the deal right now, realistically, if since they have the EU and a good chunk of other countries, and they don't necessarily have to do too much with the US. They could say tomorrow, like, hey, the deal's closed, whatever, and then fight, all the other regulators after the fact. And if that happens and the UK appeal doesn't work out, we could see a situation where, I don't think this will happen, but Microsoft could essentially just pull out and not do business in Europe, or not Europe, in the UK. That would be catastrophic for both parties involved for a lot of different reasons.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get to that. But the other side of the coin is they could just say, all right, well, we'll spin off, Activision UK as like a subsidiary that operates on its own, and we just won't have, like, because again, the same argument with the EU is the same argument with the UK, is that cloud gaming is a problem, right? They don't care about console gaming. They're all saying that the theory of harm against, like, Sony and Nintendo is not realistic. So they're really concerned about cloud gaming and, like, how Microsoft may have a competitive advantage against other companies that are trying to get into the cloud gaming space, even though Microsoft's made all these deals and said, hey, you can have, Call of Duty in this game and that game and so on and so forth in your cloud gaming service if you sign a deal with us, whatever. There could be a world where, like, basically anyone on Game Pass in the UK just won't get any of the Activision Blizzard content. So no Call of Duty for anyone in the UK, but every other, jurisdiction like the US and EU and every other country can have it. That's something that could come to fruition if the UK doesn't really, like, get on board, quote unquote. And honestly, it'd be a way for them to just kind of sidestep this entirely. Very curious to see how that goes.
That's wild.
Yeah.
No more Jack Frags, man. Damn.
I mean, he would just buy his games. he would just buy the games. They're not really anything going to change.
No more Jack Frags, bro.
To be clear, we're not saying that they won't have the games in the UK.
No,
it's just,
I know, I'm being stupid.
I know, but based on Manny saying the VPN thing, it's just a matter of, like, they just they won't get it in Game Pass, which, whatever. Like, I guess at the end of the day, it'd just be business as usual for them. They would still have to buy their games, but they'd still be missing out on something that everybody else in the world would be missing out on. So I think gamers there would be upset about it. And then, there's a whole lot of political things that come from that. But alas, another one of those things to keep our eye on, because, that fight's going to be going well into the summer. I think they said next week or the week after there may be, like, a trial with the appeals court. But alas, we'll keep you guys posted on that stuff, because personally I find it very interesting. I know it's a bit, like, more in the weeds with, like, court talk and all that other stuff, but I think it's cool. So something to keep you guys updated on. But to get into the more juicy stuff for the future, we talked about it before. We're hitting that reveal season. We got the Microsoft press conference that's going to be happening June 11th. Actually, I was doing a little search while we were talking about some stuff. So Ubisoft is going to be having their event June 12th. So we still might be having, like, a little mini E3 week for sure. So, alas. But next week we're getting a really big one, and PlayStation is finally showing up and giving us their showcase. So, we want to just take a little moment to talk about that, because goddamn, there's only one thing I care about from the showcase, right? I need to find out what's going on with my boy Peter Parker and Miles Morales. I need to know if there's going to be some co-op in Spider-Man 2. I need to know what that game's going to look like, who my villains are. I want to know how they've improved that game. So,
you don't care about Wolverine?
I don't give a damn about Wolverine. I don't give a damn. Relative to that game, I would be shocked if they could find a way to make me care more about Wolverine than I care about Spider-Man. It's inevitable that I'm going to play that game, right? Because I'm sure they're not coming out at the same time. Like, I actually think, well, we've confirmed that Spider-Man 2 is coming out this year. I think Wolverine's coming out next year. So I care about it. But, like, the only thing that I, like, they could only show me that one game and I'll be like, best conference ever. If they hit me off with co-op,
bro,
co-op?
what we want. You know what I mean? Like they're about to show Spider-Man, like Miles Morales showing, and then like out of nowhere, like Peter Parker, whoosh, well, hey Miles, and then he's like, welcome to co-op. And then I miss like conferences because like the live reactions used to be it, man.
Yeah,
for real. Bro. Oh my god. My live reaction, if they hit us with, because you know how they used to do like the cheesy, like I remember like when they shut off Battlefield and like, you know, or actually The Division is the best example of it because it was probably the most egregious when they first showed it off, and it was like you're in a squad of 4 people and they had like the people in the trailer like talking to each other, and that was their way of showing you like, oh, you're playing co-op with your friends or whatever. If they do that with Spider-Man and it's like, oh, your friend got online, boo, boo, boo. Hey, what's up, dude? And then like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh.
Yeah.
Need it. I need it. All right, all right. That's like I said. That's all I really care about. There's plenty of other things people are talking about out there. You know, some rumors that Ghost of Tsushima 2 might be a thing. You know, another Final Fantasy remake, whatever. So I just want to go around the room. What do you guys, hoping to see from this one? Anything that we haven't already discussed that maybe down the pipe? I hear that there's like a Metal Gear Solid remake that might be happening. So. You know, Chris, I'm gonna start with you on this one, man. Anything specific you're looking to see from PlayStation?
Honestly, man, I really, and this is just me wishing, but I think we're gonna see some of the older stuff come back a little bit. You know, like if I had to pick one of them, I really think we're gonna see something for like a Jak and Daxter or something like that, like a new. Because that's the main reason why I'm a little excited for this Sony thing to begin with. I feel like with the last few years, or at least last year, damn, what the hell? Oh, the shit keep falling off. Okay. The last year of conferences that we had or whatever were presentations, we kind of already knew what they were going to show us to some degree. Like all the heavy hitter games, most of them we kind of like knew were already kind of coming. And now since we kind of have already gotten past a lot of those, a lot of the stuff I think that we're going to get is like fresh shit, like shit that we can't anticipate, you know? So that alone gives me excited. But yeah, man, I think they're going to dig into that bag and something's going to come out of it from back in the early 2000s, late 90s and rear its head again. And I think it's going to be cool. This is the most excited I've been for one of their presentations in a while. I'll say it like that.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
It's funny you mentioned the pulling something back from back in the day, because my money is actually on Siphon Filter. I think that I could be so wrong. I just don't think PlayStation's prioritizing the like kid game. I hate to like say that around like a Jak and Daxter or anything like that. I think they had the Ratchet and Clank thing. It sold well, but it's like every time I think about PlayStation Studios, like PlayStation as a brand, they have a very specific thing, and they nail that thing. There's your God of War, your Ghost of Tsushima, your Last of Us, your Horizon. They all look the same. They're all like third person action adventure over the shoulder like games, and I guess even in a sense, Ratchet like kind of filled that too, like the third person over the shoulder. But I don't know. They tend to stray more. They stray more like mature. Like I don't know. Like their demographic is like 25 to like 40-year-old men. It feels like, you know, like they get all these stories of dads and like family, and I don't know. It's like their niche. Like that's their thing. And it's working really well for them because all those games are doing extremely well. And I don't think that they would attack a Jak and Daxter, even though I would love to see them do it. And I feel like if they were to revive anything, I could really see Siphon Filter being something that I don't know, would work out well for them. But
So like third person action adventure, I can kind of see that being like another formula working for Siphon Filter, especially since I noticed that every time I look at the updated list of the games that will come out monthly, that Siphon Filter has been slowly been releasing its games.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they just last month they released the final game of the series, I think, or something. I forgot, but they definitely released 4 Siphon Filter games, if I'm not mistaken.
So you think they're building up to, so that when they announce, people will be like, oh, let me go back and play those old ones. Oh, they're on the PlayStation Store. That strategy is real to me. I think that's absolutely something that they would try to pull.
Yeah, I think that'd be. Like I said, they've been slowly bringing it back. When it first initially came out, the first Siphon Filter was there, and still got to beat those games. But I mean, if they come out with a remake, I might as well just wait.
Yeah, I would just, because I don't think those translate well.
Yeah.
They old. Yeah,
I was gonna ask when the last one was made. Actually,
I don't even know. I just know they old as hell.
Shit.
But Chris, what were you about to say?
No, I was trying to figure out when the last one was even made. Was it early 2000s, late 90s? How did that work?
It definitely had to be.
I don't
early
even remember
2000s.
what that looks like. All I remember is the name of the game. But I don't remember shit else about it.
Same.
I remember it's got to be early 2000s. It's got to be early 2000s. But I remember playing that shit back on PS1.
Oh shit! That's how far back we talking. Okay.
Block.
Say less.
Block.
Yeah.
Just
less.
block shooting at cats.
Okay. Jesus.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that game came out before the DualShock or not, but
I think they had to have made a version that was on PS2, but I don't remember playing it. I remember the one on PS1 though, for sure.
yeah.
And I think it's a franchise that you have that you could do a little something with. I don't know. I just see that it being more likely for them to bring that back just based off the trajectory that they have. Obviously, they're working on a lot of live service games, and we've talked about that at length. So I'm sure we'll start to see some of those start to turn up. But the traditional PlayStation Studios third person action adventure joint, I think that's what we're gonna see. Oh, another thought. I really hope we see that Last of Us Factions game. We need that.
Sure.
We need that. We need to know something about it because it's been too long. Man, you got any other ones though?
So you stole my thought with Last of Us. Of course, that's got make an appearance. You talked about the Metal Gear remake rumor and stuff like that. I think Konami's going to have a big part of the showcase as well because they had a showcase planned for E3, but that got canceled, of course. Of course, you see Spider-Man 2. Hopefully, that'll be co-op. If not, it is what it is. I think we're probably going to see a live service game coming from Sony. You ain't just get Bungie, to help with live service games and not push out live service games. So we're probably going to get a live service game announcement. If you get a shadow drop from a live service game, that would actually be pretty nice, but I doubt the shadow drop will happen. What else? There's probably another game I'm thinking of. Of course. How can I forget? With the rumors of Grand Theft Auto 6 release date, you gotta have a trailer in the showcase. Rockstar, I know you do deals with PlayStation. Just drop a trailer. That's the reason. They're like, yo, we got this masterpiece. We're gonna help you. Yes.
I'll say this. I hope I'm wrong because I want to see it sooner than later, but I really think we're not seeing that till Game Awards. And to Manny's point, to Manny's point about that rumor, so the Take-Two earnings call I think was this past week or something along those lines, and I think they adjusted their this fiscal year, how much money they expected to make. I guess it's significantly less than next year. Next year is supposed to be an $80 billion year projection, and they're there's a industry defining game that's gonna that's gonna be groundbreaking for the industry, yada yada yada. What other fucking game could they be talking about? What other game is gonna be pushing out $8 billion for this company? There's only one game. It's the biggest game in games, period. Grand Theft Auto's coming out.
Trailer next week.
Yeah.
Bro. I'm gonna just go to that show expecting a trailer, and I know I'm gonna be disappointed.
Don't do that.
Like,
don't do that. You're gonna
We
be.
just talked about setting our expectations.
Yeah, set your
man.
expectations low, man. Low in the gutter. In the gutter.
He said, "No, I don't want to. I don't want to."
no, we're getting that Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer. You don't be like, yo, we're gonna make $3 billion more in the fucking 2024 fiscal year. Well, you know, like you got.
Well, that's the thing you have to. That's the thing you have to pay attention to, though, right? Fiscal year is not the same as a calendar year, so I think for them it might be like May 2024 to May 2025. You know, like there's.
Yeah, I think actually it says it right here. I think the fiscal year that they're talking about is from April 2024 to March 2025.
So I was close. Yeah, so that's the thing with fiscal years, it's not the same as a calendar year. So you know, set the expectation a little bit. That's why I'm like, Game Awards gives them a little bit of time, but they might also want to release something that's a little bit closer. So I don't know.
I think now is the perfect time. You know, the console shortage is done. You know, there was that rumor before. It was like Rockstar wasn't going to release Grand Theft Auto 6 until the console shortage ended because they're going to only make it a PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X game so that, you know, who can possibly own the system, you know, can play it, of course, which I understand sales-wise.
I mean, but here's the thing. That is a system mover. It doesn't matter that it's multi-platform, right? People will, like, this is one of those games that will force people to jump to the new generation. Point blank, period.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's a generational, like, franchise right there. That shit makes a difference. And yeah, that's gonna bump up everybody's fiscal year, not just Take-Two's. It's gonna bump up Xbox. It's gonna bump up Sony. I mean, if Nintendo was playing ball with this, it would bump them up too. Like, I mean, shit, we don't even know, right? Because if this thing comes out, if this is coming out 2025, and the new Nintendo system's out by then, I mean, shit, who knows? Maybe Nintendo's definitely making different moves. They're trying to have a larger library of games around, like, getting mature games and so on and so forth. They could be at the table this time around.
Hey, you gotta make that hardware work, though. Gotta do it.
Yeah.
We're talking about the ABK deal. You know, Euro, they down with it. Then Sony announces the showcase. They're like, okay, you got that? Okay, we got this. They're gonna bring out the heavy hitters now. You know what I mean? Like, Take-Two usually makes a lot of deals. You know, as you see, like a lot more recently with 2K and, you know, usually GTA, like GTA 5, you know, for the PS5, you know, that was like free for a couple months, and everybody who played on PlayStation got like free money and all that kind of stuff. You know, I'm sure they're going to probably be like, all right, if you get this game on the PS5, you get this. And then that's going to move people to wanting to buy it on PS5, move people to buy PS5 because it's only on PS5 and Xbox Series X. You know, that's...
You know...
marketing for them.
It would be. But
it's a stretch.
I was going to say, is you never know, though, too. Microsoft might slide up in there and try to get that marketing deal going because they've done it before. And they also have a relationship with Rockstar. Specifically Rockstar, actually, and Take-Two. Now that I'm thinking about it, because I think that the Take-Two president was one of the first people who was like heavily in favor of the Activision Blizzard deal. Like, they were one of the first people who were like on record saying like this is great for the industry, yada yada yada. So like Microsoft has a pretty good relationship with Rockstar as well. Like if I remember correctly, the very first console appearance of Grand Theft Auto, like the 3D version, was an Xbox exclusive, if I'm remembering that correctly, and then eventually came to PlayStation. I don't remember exactly which one. It wasn't Vice City. I think it was 3. Was it 3?
Nah, there ain't no way 3 came out first on Xbox. I feel like they came.
Yeah, I remember my little brother having that shit early. Yeah.
I remember, it's like, didn't they come out like on an Xbox show? To be like, oh, GTA 4 is coming out.
Yeah, but that was 360. Like, I'm talking like OG Xbox. Like, I think they were, and I'm not saying like it was like an exclusive period. Like, I'm pretty sure like they had some like timed exclusivity to that game, 3 in particular. I know Vice City launched on PS2 because I remember playing that. on PS2 day one. But I feel like they had some sort of like deal with Microsoft to get 3 on Xbox before it came to PlayStation or something along those lines. Either way, regardless, they have a relationship. It's possible that Microsoft could have shelled out a little bit of money, try to get that up on their stage first. Because they had Red Dead on Game Pass for a little bit. They had GTA 5 on Game Pass for a little bit. So I think it boils down to who's willing to spend more money as far as the marketing deals go. But that's the other side of why I feel like they're just going to go on a neutral ground and just say, hey, we're going to go to Game Awards. We're going to show everybody this shit and break the fucking internet. Because whatever they drop, whatever they about to drop.
Wait that long, bro.
I don't want to wait that long either. Don't get it twisted. I don't want to wait that long either. I just think that might make the most sense for them. Or at least just for the time frame too. Yeah, whenever that officially gets announced, because that's one of those things that's been looming over the industry for a minute. Everybody knows it's coming. Everybody's waiting. And you know how it is too. When certain games that are that big get an announcement or a release date, everything else moves out of the way, right? So,
dude, I remember I was talking to a coworker, whatever, about Rockstar, Grand Theft Auto, and all that kind of stuff, and he was just like, Grand Theft Auto 6, it ain't gonna sell well. Like, they're not marketing anything. Like, say, just drop one trailer. That's all they.
Yeah.
And
shut it down.
Everybody's hard. So like,
yeah.
For real though, they shut it down. They shut it all down. Like man.
They don't need to do anything. All they need to do is one trailer, and that's it. Wants to products, so like they really don't need anything in the marketing side. They could, be fucking waiting outside, even though midnight releases aren't really a thing anymore. But actually, Tears of the Kingdom midnight release, I heard that was lit. Apparently,
really.
Like I heard, like there was like lines going crazy for that game. So let's go with that. But
we're gonna have to talk about Tears of the Kingdom next week because I don't even know if we're going to time.
I haven't touched it.
I haven't touched it either. But it apparently is breaking records. Got 10 million copies sold in 3 days. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Like I wish I could get into that game. I still have to beat Breath of the Wild, but good for them.
I'm thinking about did God of War do that well that quickly? Like that's crazy.
Yeah. And it sold at 70, right?
I was gonna say
$70
again. Tears of the Kingdom. There is like a shit ton of switches, and
there's a ton of switches. There's a ton of switches in the world. There are more than 10 million switches out there. That's all I'm saying, right? Like, regardless, that's pretty impressive. Also, I mean, if we really want to get into all that, like they did make God of War on PlayStation 4, so.
You're right. Never mind. I give up.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's an impressive feat. We don't necessarily have to make the comparison. I'm sorry, I did start that. Let me take that back. It's just fucking impressive because
starting your next controversy.
It's the first $70 Switch game. Cass was making a big deal about that. They said we don't give a fuck. We're gonna do this, and y'all gonna buy it. And sure enough, they did. Oh my god, $70, 10 billion copies.
It's one of those things, man. Like we talked about what is it called? GTA. Like they dropped something. Fucking everybody's gonna balls to the walls. Like I think Zelda's starting to become one of those games.
But starting to become.
Not starting to become, but like all right. Well, my bad.
You wildin'. Zelda is one of the classic gaming franchises. Period. Man. They have solidified that. Ocarina of Time did not come out here with 10s on 10s on 10s on 10s for you to be out here talking about. You wow. Oh man. Nah, I get you, man. You young.
Name, man.
It's like you compare the prestige of fucking
Zelda. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. Especially coming off of what they did with Breath of the Wild. People having a lot of questions around whether they could do it again. And obviously the game came out, had tens, masterpiece this, masterpiece that. It's looking like it's gonna be game of the year, unless this dude Todd Howard could come out fucking swinging with that Starfield. I think Zelda might already have it locked up.
That was gonna
Damn.
locked up. Still gotta be Star Wars, man. But
It's straight to.
Oh God. Oh, hold up. Little sign on Star Wars. Manny, from the other day when I was telling you I was pretty sure at the end, I'm not. I'm not.
damn.
Still a good hour of stress.
You beat it, I'm guessing?
No. I still haven't beat it.
Damn.
Just stress on stress. But goddamn, that game is amazing. I don't understand how that's not getting tense. Like this could go down in history as like one of the best years in gaming as far as like quality games. Like that game is phenomenal. The way the story pans out. I know you already got to this point considering where you were, but there was like I'm not even gonna talk about it on here. We're gonna talk about that off here. It's just one of those moments. There's one moment in particular that like I feel like everybody just has to experience for the first time, and you're just like, what the fuck is good? Oh man, the game is good. That's
It's just one of those unfortunate situations where like reviews are like, judging based on bugs. Shit happens, man. Like
Yeah.
I think those review scores got to go up a little bit more, man. I know there was some bugs. I didn't really experience those bugs. I know some people were fighting with some bugs, but at the end of the day, when you look at that game and how it's crafted, the level design, the enemies, the combat, it's just fucking amazing. So yeah, I don't know. People gotta stop fucking with that shit, man. That's like one of the best Star Wars stories, period. And I'm not talking about like gaming, I'm talking about like this story rivals the shit that they put on the screen.
Wow.
It's crazy to me. But alas, I suspect we'll be talking about this more at closer to the end of the year. So we're gonna save that conversation for then. Just know if you're watching this, you need to go pick up Jedi Survivor. You need to beat that game. It's fucking fantastic. Chris, you need to go play that game. It's fucking fantastic. Especially if you're a Star Wars fan. It's...
Damn. Motherfucker made that shit sound like fucking gourmet. Goddamn.
The way some of this shit pops off, man. And I'll tell you one thing. If you're not up for a challenge... play that shit on easy. Just do yourself a favor early because the story is that good. But if you out here, you used to playing hard games like Elden Ring, Dark Souls, Ninja Gaiden, whatever, crank that shit up to the hardest difficulty and just fucking go in because that game is.
I want to go down to easy just to go with the story. The story's so freaking good, but I keep on getting stuck and I'm just like.
Yeah, that's the only thing that's been slowing me down. I'm gonna get my ass whooped by some characters, and I'm like, fuck.
I'm at waves and waves, and of course, like the last fucking two beefy ass robots.
Yeah. All right. I didn't want to get too much on a tangent with Star Wars, but I mean, honestly, I think we'll leave it at that for now. We have a couple other things coming down the pipe as far as this like reveal season, like we talked about. So I reiterate it again. So June 11th, we have the Xbox showcase, followed by the Starfield Direct. So we'll definitely be trying to live stream that since it's on a Sunday afternoon. Actually, Chris, you might be working, right? So we'll have to figure that one out.
Depends on what day it is, because I don't work every Sunday.
Okay. Well, one way or another, myself and Manny, I presume we'll both be there. We'll see if Chris can grace us with his presence, but we definitely going to be talking some Starfield. We definitely going to be reacting to the things that are going on there. Unfortunately, we can't do a live one for the Sony press conference, but we will be basing our episode next week on that. And then, as we said, on the 12th, Ubisoft will be having their thing. And I think on the 8th, the Summer Games Fest Live will be there. So Jeff Keighley will be doing his thing. You know how he is. He always, brings some interesting games. Hopefully it's better than last year's because last year had some Has some weird ones in between. You know, the in between games is really what gets you sometimes. But he always open the show with something interesting, and then the show with something interesting. So hopefully we have more bangers to fill in the gaps there. But yeah, it's gonna be a cool season, guys. So we'll talk to you guys next week to talk more about the PlayStation stuff, and hopefully some other things that might get announced tomorrow, next week. We'll see. So thank you guys for watching and listening. We'll check you guys out next week. Peace.